Before this response starts, I finished this response, and then I was looking for some image to like accompany with it. And yeah, I found this one, and let me know what you think about it, what your thoughts about on it. I think it's really interesting how this person, I think for me, this reflects like the modern day like 9 to 5 worker who instead of climbing this ladder, doing this grind to freedom, they instead settle for less, settle for what society has given them, and that is to just burn their sticks, their steps towards freedom in order to just receive instant gratification, just temporary instant pleasure now. The warmth of the fire kind of symbolizes like just the pleasure of today and not thinking about how to like kind of sustain yourself and build a better future tomorrow. It's just that you are too concerned with trying to get the warmth, to not be cold, to not be in pain now. And as a result of that desire, you just burn your potential and burn your opportunities down to climb this great wall, this barrier, to achieve a better life for yourself. Let me know what your thoughts on this image I found. I found this to be really interesting when I was searching for an image, and yeah, I'll let the response take over now. Yeah, this is gonna be the response to it was like the psychopath one, like to your newest one on the psychopath one. And yeah, it's been quite a while since you made that, so yeah, I think I'll just refresh your memory, or you could go back and look at that video again. The video was by you. It was called let me see, response to Brayden, right before the mental health thing. I just kind of remind you, if you want to, you can go back and rewatch yours before you listen to this. But I think you should be able to remember what you said and stuff from my brief, like basically summary to what you're saying. Yeah, so also I'll be uploading the one the response, the video that you are responding to in that one. That one wasn't even uploaded to YouTube yet, so yeah, I'll be uploading that like today, and yeah, we'll get the playlist sorted, and then remind me, I'm not sure what else I have. Oh yeah, wait. Actually, I'm kind of confused now. But I'm looking at the channel videos, and I think I haven't responded to the one before that either. So the exact one I'm responding to, if it's hard to find, it's like 25 minutes and 23 seconds of yours. And yeah, actually, I think the one before that, I'll have to get a response out to that for that as well. Religion and psychopath. Response 3, religion and psychopath. Okay, I'm a bit confused. I'll get it sorted after I finish this recording. But yeah, so beginning, basically I mentioned like I did an analogy between like being too short to play basketball and trying to reach the NBA in the psychopath one, compared to like it's like comparable to a psychopath wanting to do the right thing, right? Like it's almost impossible for them. Yeah, I wasn't referring to you. Uh, so no offense intended within that. Because you mentioned you thought I was referring to you maybe, but no, I was just it was just the first thought that came to mind for the analogy. Um, in like a kind of like a like a genetic disposition wise, where psychopaths they kind of genetically just can't like do the right thing, and that's comparing it to like just being too short and wanting to play in the NBA. That was kind of what I was trying to get at. But yeah, no like I really wasn't trying. So I trying to refer that to you. Yeah, so I apologize if it came off like that. Um, yeah. So and then moving on from that, we are more fortunate. Yeah, you mentioned how we are more fortunate than most people, and that most of our problem in the modern day are really nothing compared to what people have to go through across the world. And yeah, I do agree that it is that we have to keep this in mind, and it will help keeping this in mind. But also, I've done a bit more like reading into this, and it's like, um, so basically, there are people like there's tribes in like Africa where um they they don't like so it was like a YouTube video where this white person came to this African tribe and then mentioned the concept of suicide to them, and they looked at him so confused, like they because this concept and this act never does not exist at all within their small tribe and culture. Um, so it's like really absurd to them to think that why would someone take their life? Why would someone jump off a building and whatever? And that really like kind of provoked some thoughts about how they're so happy and content with just living as they are. Like they have never been introduced to like social media technology, and thus they never developed any problems with mental health because they kind of like live life the way God intended, kind of, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, just like how, because I feel like they're more close to nature than, and just like the natural state of being than Western cultures are and society is. And I feel like in a way that can be living a life like that is the most more like can be the most fulfilling, and just like, you know, you hunt for survival each day. You don't eat the best food, the most delicious food, but you're just still so happy for being alive, just for the fact that you're alive when you are raised in like those types of families in those African tribes that was in that video mentioned. And yeah, like the last thought that would come to their mind would be suicide, because it just really doesn't exist for them. Like, why would they have any mental health problems if they have nothing to worry about really, except um to just hunt as a family and come back and celebrate, and just like they're just always constantly spending time with family and friends, and they live a good life in that sense. Because yeah, what could be troubling them? They have sufficient, like they have kind of have everything they need already, and they're not, you know, we have the desire to like accumulate and finds and what's it called, like, grind for wealth and freedom, but they're playing by a different set of rules because they don't need to they don't need to grind for wealth because they're already free and wealthy in the sense, just by having family and having um like just having a good feast at the end of the day from their hunting. In a way, like, Western society kind of like they put this is like they put like a lock on freedom, like the instant we are born in a Western culture and society, and that we are like indoctrinated with these beliefs, our freedom, there's a lock on our freedom, and the only key is wealth. But yeah, like that's the traditional like kind of way. There could be also like, it's hard to transcend beyond that. Like, I could never imagine being just content right now without any money. But, there's people who can, perhaps they have shut away these like ideals through religion. But for me personally, I think, yeah, even with religion, I cannot ever just be content without, going to grind for money, without, yeah, making money, trying to make money. And which is really interesting to think about compared to these like tribes who, because they never have been indoctrinated in this education system, and this mindset to make money, because they're already wealthy as they are. They cannot ask for more than what they have, with their lives. So that's kind of like really interesting how different people's lives are and outlook on life when they, from a perspective that has never been like introduced to this Western ideals and desires, and how that relates to how we are more fortunate than most people. It kind of, this statement always remains kind of true for us, always true actually for us, but it's just that it's all kind of relative. Even though we are more fortunate, right? It's it is an objective fact that we don't need to hunt for food each day, or we'll die of starvation or whatever. But in our society, we have other problems we kind of have to hunt for each day instead to solve. Like, even if like the people in the African tribes, they don't have the problem of money, but they have the problem of food, maybe. And they hunt for that each day. And then when they're done and they get the food home, they're happy. For us, it's like, it's kind of similar, like in a relative sense, where if we don't make money, it's almost like as important as food and survival now. It really is. Like, if we don't make the money, then it's kind of just really impacting our survival each day. If we aren't constantly going and striving towards making money. Yeah, let me know more of your thoughts on this. if I was clear enough in this explanation, basically. Yeah, tell me if you understood what I said, because I might sound like a bit intimidating at first, but yeah, like we are more fortunate, but um the problems are kind of relative, since in the Western society we have since we are in the Western culture, it really pushes us to have these problems. Like if those African tribes, if they were to like become a part of Western culture and take on these ideals, then their struggles would be kind of similar. We would like, yeah, the struggles would be similar in the sense that they don't have to hunt for food, but now they have a new problem that they like kind of have to deal with, which is to make money. And all the modern day addictions kind of, yeah, that kind of makes me think like, is it more fortunate for us since we have technology and like, yeah, like we have technology and stuff. It's really good. We can take it in a fortunate sense because we can now make money online and everything and access things really quickly. But also in the sense that the cons are kind of equally as good as the bad, as bad as the good. I mean, like, yeah, so, yeah, just let me know if I explained it clear enough and what you think about this. And yeah, carrying on, you mentioned Andrew Tate's words, how, yeah, he speaks objective truths, like, if you're fat, then, you're fat. Like, you cannot disprove it if you have, like, these calories in you. It's just the truth. Like, and it, all the words that he will hear, it's always up to themselves, ultimately, to whether it can, like, how it affects them. They can make it, like, they can allow it to just define them and stay sad, broke, fat, or they can use it to their advantage, or they can ignore it completely. It's always up to them. You don't have control over what Andrew Tate says, but you do have control over whether and how you let it affect you. And if it does anger you, and his insults do get to you and make you sad and make you want to change, then that's good because it aligns with his purpose. Like, he doesn't care if you hate him or love him. He cares that however you use his words, that it will make a positive impact on your own life. That it can motivate you, it can anger you, it can angrily motivate you, that, every day you're thinking about how he insults you and everything, and use that to your advantage. Yeah, and similar to this, like, obviously he doesn't want to kind of hurt you, but his words, if it does hurt you, then that's because you've hurt yourself. It's really up to you. Like, if it hurts you, then that means, yeah, your life is probably, your lifestyle choices is bad. you aren't happy with your life. And that was all up to you, all up to your past self decisions, up to your current self decisions. You created this life for yourself, and if he insults you and you get hurt from it, then perhaps your lifestyle choices weren't the best, and you do really need a change. So he's not actively trying to hurt you. You're the one who hurts your, who's making it hurt, who's hurting yourself. Because if your life was good, then his words wouldn't hurt you, or his insults wouldn't hurt you, you know. So you're the one. It's always you. It's always up to the individual. Like comparing someone who is on like is successful, is did the right things, and hears Andrew Tate's words, that wouldn't hurt him because he is successful himself, compared to if he wasn't. If someone who just watches TV, plays games, and is unemployed, who do you blame for where they're at in life? You blame themselves. You blame the individual. So how can you say that Andrew Tate is hurting you when you created that life for yourself to make his words feel like it's hurting? And then the next point is Ed Sheeran. He, you mentioned how he was homeless once, and yeah, he got out of all that and was able to create a successful career for himself through music. Yeah, that is certainly like really courageous and strong of him to do so, because you know when you're in that position, it's really easy to just, you know, your life, you've hit rock bottom if you're homeless, really. And for him to be able to continue like creating a career and pursue his passion from that spot is just like some, it's a really, can't describe how strong that what mindset would be. And you can't describe how much he wanted to, like, I can't say for him, but he generally, like, you know, you mentioned how it's so easy to spend your money, a homeless person's like a homeless person to spend their money on drugs and stuff because, you know, their life is bad, so they want to further just escape through drugs and alcohol to just, you know, always remain drunk in a like high state and whatever, so that they don't have to think about how bad their life is. But Ed Sheeran he was able to just resist all that and, you know, create such a like big and one of the most successful musicians in the world, you know. Certainly is like, yeah, can't describe, but like it's really makes you think how like great these people are if they're able to go from the rock bottom places towards the very top. And then yeah, this is all in kind of chronological order as well. The next thing was uh how it's hard right now, going to uni and stuff, to really accelerate, kind of insanely just boost your like self-improvement practices because of all the social media distractions and stuff. And then you mentioned how, yeah, we should, in the holidays and Europe trip, we should isolate ourselves and really stay away from technology and everything, and that'll really help. And to come back at 2024 as completely changed people. I do agree that just the isolation thing and really being away from technology and everything will help a lot, but we cannot depend on that. And I think if we were to only depend on that, then it will be not very a stable journey up. It'll just be obviously those times would be really good and they would boost your self-improvement a lot, but also I think we don't necessarily have to wait till those times in order to reach peak in quotations self-improvement. I think the kind of peak of it would be if we were able to actually balance everything as well on top of the self-improvement stuff, reach the ideal daily routine. I have a document where I have my ideal daily routine for myself, and I think there's definitely a lot of room for improvement right now, and that perhaps the kind of isolation period of improvement is equal to if I were to reach an ideal day of self-improvement along with uni and everything, if you get what I mean. So I can still have time and room to create such an ideal self-improvement schedule that I am able to boost it as if I was on the isolation thing already. So I think also with the uni hardships and schedules and stuff, I can still envision myself getting up early each day, going gym, spending an hour or two reading and writing, and then going to uni. And while on uni transport, I'll be reading and writing. When I get home, I'll do some homework. I'll be able to go for a run. I'll be able to meditate, journal, and then do more of my own work, as well as balancing with the uni work, and sleep early, and achieve that each day, the entire year, next year. And throughout the entire day, I wouldn't really go on YouTube at all. I wouldn't, be seeking for distractions for social media. I think, for the social media thing, you're a bit, kind of overcomplicating it a bit, just from my, perspective of that video. Perhaps it has changed, but from my, point of view, it seemed as if, because of the social media stuff, that we are unable to reach peak performance. But honestly, I haven't really touched Instagram in probably half a year now, maybe. Actually, the only like times I really went on it was when you sent some posts. Other than that, I really haven't used it at all. I don't find the struggle and need to use it. For my closest friends, I'll just text them on with the mobile number, like messages on the phone. And yeah, there's no reason to post, to look at posts, to go on Reels or Discovery page. I think that's the most healthy way to use it. Just kind of just only use my phone for that, just texting if I really needed to with the mobile numbers. And yeah, I don't have any other social medias really except Discord and YouTube. YouTube, like a few weeks ago, I remember I reached this like flow state where I didn't want to watch YouTube any. Like I used to always like binge YouTube and just watch random stuff because it was just so addicting for some reason. Like to go from one video to the next and the next for hours. But a few weeks ago, I remember I reached this point where I would spend like max like 30 minutes on YouTube, and that was because I was listening to some podcast or something, and I just had no need or urge to just search up any of like my favorite channels I used to watch or whatever. I think that was like the peak mental health where I could just be content and sustain myself without like watching and just absorbing content. So yeah, I think social media isn't really a problem if we don't make it a problem. It's always ultimately up to yourself, the individual. Like, you can choose to make these problems big excuses for stuff, or we can choose to try and overcome them the best as we can to our ability to try whatever method it takes. Yeah, so um to summarize that, I think like we can achieve that like performance of isolation similar to like being isolated even in our daily uni lives if we really try to, and we don't have to just wait till those periods to actually boost this improvement stuff. And lastly, um you mentioned Kobe Bryant and how through his success people had hated on you and him hated on him, and how he had people yeah, just a lot of negativity as well, thinking he wouldn't make it and stuff. I recently just thought of a new perspective to think this from. Like these haters, these doubters, whatever, doubt your ambitions, your success because they don't have any ambition themselves. They Because if they tried, they will know how it is, and they wouldn't doubt. Only other successful people never doubt other successful people because they know how it is and how it feels, and they know people can actually make it. They do believe in other people to also become successful. So those who doubt, those who hate, have no ambitions, no seeking for success themselves in them. They don't have that desire, and thus they will never be they'll never become successful. And I also think that I could be grateful for this, because having this ambition is a gift, and those people without it are just starting, rather than taking it in as insult and feeling down of myself because of their doubts. I think that I'm grateful that I have the gift of having this desire to do more with my life, and that I pity them for they haven't found that desire, perhaps. And also because we there's more people whose lives I can change, and more kind of audience consumers for the things I want to create and provide for. And also less competition to face as well, since if everyone was on it, if everyone had that desire, then I think it would be normalized, and it wouldn't be seen as anything big anymore, and it would be harder to actually make it. So it's actually pretty special that this sort of stuff is so niche and hard to find in most people in society these days. And also just thinking back on how successful people, doubters are always people who are unsuccessful and haven't even tried, because the people who are successful or have tried, they know that, they wouldn't be doubters, because they know that people can actually make it even when they were the most average person before, even though, they thought they weren't going to make it before and thought that they were just going to be an average person, and they made it. So, successful people would never doubt other people, because they know what it takes, and they know that there are people who will make it because they were themselves, they were like them before as well. They have been in their positions before they became successful. And the last thing I guess I want to quickly touch on is how we'll be constantly improving this speaking and kind of thinking, and gradually get deeper, more deeper, more topics to cover. We've only scratched the surface on everything, basically, and that there's a lot to uncover and debate, discuss about. And it'll be interesting. All our first time doing things will always be bad, and looking back 1 year, 10 years from now, and imagine watching our old first videos, and then seeing how different it was back then, and then also whether we agree with our past selves on certain topics, since we still have a lot of things we aren't too sure about, and that we still have to continue to evolve our understanding on. And that'll be really interesting to see. It's actually really cool that we're doing this, because it's like a time capsule, to look back on in so long. And I've always imagined how surreal and cool it is for YouTubers to look back at their own content, because they basically have their whole kind of lives from 7 or 8 years ago stored on this platform, and they can look back and watch whenever and relive those memories, or yeah, remind them about their past and where they came from and what they were like back then compared to now. And uh just forgot something I was about to say. Give me a second. Yeah, we well, I'm not sure about you, but I've never really, you know, kind of had like my life basically and thoughts like captured like this before, until like recently when I started doing some journaling and doing this as well. So yeah, like I imagine if I had done this from like 8 years old or something, then and watching that back then, watching it again from now, that'll be really different and interesting to hear. So yeah, I really enjoy doing this, and hope you do as well, and we'll continue building upon this and seeing where this will go, and then looking back on where we have came from and everything. So yeah, that'll be it for this response. Thanks for listening then.